So everybody wants to know the real reason why we're not getting Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. And the truth is that I think Canelo Alvarez wants to go in the direction of Jake Paul and honestly, have what Floyd Mayweather calls a legalized bank robbery, because it's an easier fight. Compare it to Canelo versus Terence Crawford. Canelo versus Jake Paul is such an easier fight for Canelo Alvarez, and there's so much less risk for Canelo as opposed to fighting Bud. Like, there's just so much to lose against a guy like Terence Crawford. I've been telling you guys, even if Canelo beats Crawford, he'd have to stop him to get the respect of a lot of people. And even if Canelo did stop Terence Crawford, everybody would be like, all right, dude, you were supposed to do that. Go fight Benavidez now. Like, you're never going to satisfy people. And I think that's what Terence Crawford and Canelo, both understand. They both understand that. And more importantly, that's why Canelo's not really pushing for this Terence Crawford fight. If he really wanted to make it happen, he could. But he knows that Jake Paul is a fight where he's going to make more money, and it's an easier fight, an easier night in the office. So why not take that fight as opposed to fighting a smaller guy who does have the potential to beat you? Instead, fight a guy like Jake Paul, who has, honestly, no offense to Jake, but he has no chance against Canelo Alvarez, and that's just a fact. He has zero chance against Canelo, but it would be a big event for his career. It would be a huge payout for Jake. Despite the beating he may take or may not take, depending on, whether or not they agree before the fight to say, okay, Canelo, we're both going to make a lot of money. Let's just get in the ring, move around. We could throw some exchanges here and there, but let's not really, try to hurt each other and walk out of there, 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars richer. If that's the case, we might get that. But if we get a real fight, Jake Paul has no chance. Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez. And if Canelo really wants to get at Jake Paul, he's going to stop him and give him the beating of a lifetime. And as much as, a lot of people want to see Jake Paul lose and get knocked out, I don't really care to see that, because it's like, what do you expect? He's a YouTuber turned social media star turned professional boxer. You're not going to expect him to beat a guy like Canelo Alvarez. I don't care how much more he weighs in as opposed to Canelo Alvarez. I don't care how much bigger he is. He's not going to beat Canelo. Canelo's 5'8", Jake's around 6'1", 6'2". Jake's not going to beat Canelo. There's just no way he does it, even, with weight classes being there for a reason. It doesn't apply the same way when you have a guy like Canelo who's been doing this his entire life, has so many professional, so many amateur fights, to the point where, Jake Paul can't possibly catch up. If he was a special individual, and I'm not saying he's not a very talented and special individual in the business world, within the marketing world of boxing, I'm not saying that. He definitely knows how to make money and how to market himself to people, who don't know too much about, combat sports, but, still want something to watch. But against Canelo Alvarez, there's no shortcuts to what you're gonna get. If he goes at you, Jake Paul's in trouble. Jake Paul's gonna take a terrible beating against Canelo Alvarez. That's if there's no agreement beforehand. There's nothing in the contract saying don't knock out Jake Paul. We'll give you this much money. We'll give you this much of a bonus if you sign and make sure on the dotted line you say that you're not gonna stop Jake. Then that becomes a show at some point. It's not even a fight anymore, and I'm not sure it should be a sanctioned bout. It should just be considered an exhibition. I'd be surprised if they make this a official bout where, if Canelo somehow lost this fight, it would go on his record. And if Jake, even if Jake loses like we all would expect him to, I don't care to see it on his box rec. I don't care to see it on Canelo Alvarez's box rec, to see Jake Paul and Canelo. This would be a spectacle and nothing more than that. It's not a real fight. And for Canelo, I understand it. Why fight David Benavidez? Why fight Terence Crawford when you've already had a lot of fights, you've had a lot of miles? Maybe he just doesn't want to challenge himself like that anymore. I know it sounds crazy, but at the end of the day, some fighters have that mentality now where it's like, I've paid my dues, I've taken enough punishment in the ring, I put my miles in, my road work in, let me enjoy the fruits of my labor and just claim this money against a guy like Jake, where I know he has no chance of beating me. That's the mentality of a businessman, not so much of a fighter. So maybe that's just the point of Canelo Alvarez's career that he's in, where he's not really thinking about these dangerous fights. He just wants to get his money and then ride off into the sunset, and I don't blame him. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about Jake Paul versus Canelo. You guys know I'll watch it, but it's just like, I don't consider it a real fight, honestly. And I'd expect Canelo to win if you know, there's no weird behind the scenes and stuff going on under the table where they're agreeing to not, you know, really hurt each other. But let me know in the comments what you guys think down below. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next Nabs Boxing video. Peace.